From the Podwire's newsroom at podwires.com.
Hello everybody, I'm Miko Santos. Here are the top stories from Podwire Newsroom. Today is Thursday, August the 8th. heartMedia's podcast revenue soared to new heights, reached $104.5 million in quarter 2. Edison Research and Nielsen unveiled quarter 2 market insights. Thousands of Spotify users have reported issue with the service this morning. Here are the details. iHeartMedia podcast revenue is increasing, surpassing $100 million in the second quarter. According to the company executives, the pace of advertising will pick up in the second half of the year. According to iHeart, podcast revenue in the second quarter was $104.5 million, up by 8% from the same period last year. Additionally, iHeart podcast revenue during the first half of the year increased by 13% to $195 million over the previous year. For more information, we'll be posted that on our next newsletter. Edison Research and Nielsen collectively published a quarterly report at the beginning of this year, named The Record. A report by Edison Research had just been released. The record for quarter 2. Audio captured almost 20% of American daily life. On average, it is spent on audio for 4 hours and 5 minutes on radio, podcasts, streaming music services, or satellite radio. From April to June 2024, 67% of listeners spend their time as follows: 67% on radio, 90% on podcasts, 11% on streaming audio services, and 3% on satellite radio. For more information, head over to podwires.com. A widespread Spotify outage had caused music streaming issues. In Twitter, Spotify cares advised web listener to clear their cache or switch browser. The customer support team also suggesting logging out, logging in, and restarting your device. As of this recording, Spotify are still investigating the issue.
This episode is brought to you by Podwire's Marketplace, the best platform for finding top podcast service providers and podcast producers. We've selected the best, and we're ready to make your project ideas a reality, no matter the size. We will achieve your business goals together. Find podcast experts who understand your market and will help you grow your business. Learn more right now on the homepage, https://marketplace.podwires.com.
On the other news, Podbean, the top podcasting hosting platform, released new breakthrough blog-to-podcast capability today. One can efficiently turn his blog content into an engaging podcast channel by using these innovative tools, provide unmatched outreach to big audience, and exploring new revenue stream for creators. In United Kingdom, Veritonic Audio Attribution Solution was selected by Hawk, a leading assertion company and the European player in digital omni-channel advertising, to let users of their platform trace and measure in real-time performance for audio, podcast, and CTV ads. In Colombia, in the past 24 months, Spotify has retracted its podcast investments. Award-winning Mujeres Valientes is still seeking funding for a second season, more than a year after its premiere, and the company has wound down contract throughout Spanish-speaking Latin America. In Australia, celebrating 3 years of content and laugh, legendary Australian podcast duo Tony Lodge and Ryan John have announced a new multi-year, multi-channel partnership with global powerhouse Acast, as well as a number of exciting new projects for their podcast Tony and Ryan. For the latest of these stories and podcasts, news any time of the day with Podwires, and that is your podwires.com is we're always on. Of course, you can follow us on social media as well. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You are now up to date with the latest podcast news from the Podwires newsroom.
Subscribe to Podwire's newsroom wherever you get your podcast.